Hey everyone, it's Leanne. It's another beautifully hot day. Luckily in California, it's not too muggy like it would be on the East Coast or in Florida or anywhere out there. So it's pretty nice. Also nice to have an air conditioner though. I just got done about 5 minutes ago going through and eliminating a belief that I had about money that was causing emotions and holding me back. And I've been doing that over the last few days. If you remember my last video, I actually came up with some beliefs about money and I needed to get through those. And something really interesting happened today because, again, I did something that I've never been able to do before. I called someone up and I asked for something that I've never been able to ask before because I always held myself back. The answer was no, and I still had a good conversation with this person, and I still enjoyed it, and I didn't come out of there crying like I would have in the past and thinking all hope is lost. And it's very interesting for me to have that experience. And I did have just a little bit of emotion, and because I was creating meaning. Obviously, I'm not at the top of my game yet, where I don't create any emotion, don't create any meaning to things. But I was able to dissolve that pretty much immediately and keep going with my conversation. And some of it was really what's called the conditioning, where in the past I've had that reaction. And you can think of it like this. Imagine that someone hands you an ice cream cone, you probably happily take it, right? But if someone handed you an ice cream cone and then took their fist back to punch you, you would kind of back away, right? You might maybe be scared. And then if the next time someone handed you an ice cream cone, they cocked back their hand and they were about to punch you, you would start to get a message, right? And after a few times of that, if someone handed you an ice cream cone without cocking their hand back, you might block your face or move away, right? And this is called conditioning. And this is what happens to us in life, is even when we eliminate certain beliefs and we get rid of a problem completely, we still have this conditioning. And so the way to get rid of that is to say, well, if that didn't happen in the first place, if that person didn't ever cock their hand back and go to punch me, and this is basically, the idea of getting rid of a belief. If the belief never really happened because it was just in your head, you just made it up, and you didn't have that feeling before of dread or fear or anything else, then would you have it now? And of course you wouldn't. And this helps get rid of conditionings. And so in any case, I just got done doing that. And even after that experience of asking something very significant that actually took me a day to prepare to ask, it was that significant, and getting a no and thinking, excuse me, let me turn off my phone, and feeling for a second like, well, this was my plan, now what? In that split second, instead of giving a meaning like all hope is lost, I gave it a meaning of there's another way and I'm gonna get there. And so I turned around and I made 2 sales today out of thin air. Out of thin air, made 2 sales today. And in the process, I got on the leaderboard for making those sales, which was very cool. I took a screenshot of it and everything. And so I want to get across to you a couple of things. First of all, that you have complete control of your life. You create your life. You create the beliefs that cause your thoughts and your feelings. And when you realize that you have the power to adjust your beliefs, you can change your entire life. Anything is possible. You have no limitations. And there are a lot of ways to do this. And in fact, as you know, I've taken a course that shows me how to do that for people and for myself. But also now reading Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz has his own method to doing that. And it was so incredible listening to chapter 3 today, because he starts to talk about all these changes that I'm learning how to do. And of course, he's got his own method to do it. And I just think it's so incredible that these two people, that Morty Lefko and Maxwell Maltz, were never connected in any way, because they came up with this same idea. And I kind of talked about that yesterday. So if you didn't read my blog post yesterday, definitely check it out, because it's almost unbelievable. But anyway, another thing I wanted to get across to you is about goal setting. And if you've ever set a goal and then gotten cut off by something, okay? And I'll give a really simple example to start. You're walking from your house to grandma's house, and all of a sudden there's a mountain in the way, okay? Something's stopping you. So if your goal is to get to grandma and all of a sudden you see a mountain, you say, okay, well, I'll turn around and go back home, right? You didn't get to grandma's house, you didn't reach your goal. Well, instead of saying that your goal is, I'm going to get to grandma's house today, you're going to include that mountain in the goal. So now it's, I want to get over that mountain between my house and grandma's house so that I can get to grandma's house. And all of a sudden, you've solved the problem, because now you don't need to figure out how to get to grandma's house and there's a mountain in the way. Now you just figure out how to get over the mountain and you get to grandma's house. Sounds simple? And it is. So think about your goals. For example, if you do any internet marketing or network marketing, if your goal is, I need to get a customer today, I need to make a sale today, and you say, well, I don't have any leads, I don't have any this, I don't have any that, then, or, I don't have any money to advertise, then you might take that last one, for example, and say, well, my goal is to make a sale today using methods that don't require money, for example. Okay. And there's lots of solutions, right? You're very creative, and your brain, your subconscious will automatically come up with the solutions when you include whatever is stopping you in the goal. I'm going to get from point A to point B, but I'm going to do it going over this mountain or around this mountain or swimming through the river or whatever it is that you need to do. And that's my bird screaming in the background. And I wrote some stuff here. I just want to make sure that I went over it. And oh yeah, so one more thing is this. That whole idea of the subconscious and all of us being connected, and what I talked about yesterday with Einstein, really, and poets, and these ideas coming from somewhere else, coming into your subconscious and populating in your human form, which sounds really wacky. if you're thinking about other things, it just sounds really wacky. But if you just consider for a moment that there's this common energy in the world, and the only thing that separates our energy is our left brain. Our left brain is what separates our energy. So what tells us that these are two separate hands, and that I'm separate from you and from my desk and from my body and from this pen, right? My left brain is the one that has this differentiation that says there's men and women, not just all humans, that there's animals versus humans, that there's sky versus the ground. It's all the left brain. And by the way, if you haven't seen Jill Bolte Taylor's TED Talk, you need to see it, because that's what it's all about. So Jill Bolte Taylor, and it's on TED.com. Just search for that. Bolte is spelled B-O-L-T-E. So watch that, because it talks all about that. But what I want to say is, anything that you want to do is already out there in the world. So figure out a way to get there and to make it happen. Any goal that you have already exists in the world. Figure out a way to get there. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.